So on Saturday, there were No Kings protests held around the country. And during these fabulous No Kings protests, a handful of people took to the streets to protest the fact that they don't want kings in this country. Well, no shit. There hasn't been a king in this country since 1776. But let me ask you a question. If somebody was actually trying to be king, do you think you could protest them and get away with it? Do you think taking to the streets to protest how you don't want a king, how you don't want to live under the tyrannical rule of one person, do you think he'd actually let you walk in those streets with those signs without some sort of repercussions? Do you think you'd be able to sit there and chant all day long, no king, no tyranny, he's a fascist, he's a Nazi, he's a dictator, and not wind up in prison? The person that you're protesting against is the person who helped to try to bring peace to the Middle East, who helped to free the hostages, who helped to broker a deal between two groups of people who have been at war with each other for an extremely long time. To me, that doesn't sound like a king. If he was a true fascist, why are you protesting him without repercussions? Why do you think it's okay to do these things? Because you know nothing is going to happen to you. Because you know you have the right to protest. You have the right to assembly. So, under those rights, you know nothing is going to happen. So the person that you're protesting can't and won't do anything about it. Because as long as you keep it peaceful, which surprisingly they managed to do, you have no fear of repercussions. Now, some of the protests were protesting groups like Antifa as well, because people are realizing that Antifa is a terrorist organization. They are doing nothing to benefit anybody, but they are doing everything to terrorize people in this country. And as a terrorist organization, they will be dealt with. And they are being dealt with. And rightfully so. Because you cannot sit here and terrorize people in this country and get away with it without thinking something's going to happen. So, No King's Day went off without a hitch. And Democratic politicians were at most of these rallies throughout the country protesting no kings, no kings, no kings. And yet most of these Democratic politicians have been in office for 10 plus years. It sounds more like a person that wants to stay in power, kind of like a king. These Democratic politicians have held the government shut down since the beginning of October, and are refusing to do anything to open the government up, while sitting there screaming about how are these people going to get paid? How is the military going to get paid? How are these frontline workers going to get paid? How are federal employees going to get paid? How is WIC going to get funded? Food stamps going to get funded? Health care for all. Health care for all. All includes illegal immigrants. And that's the hill that they're dying on. Because they want to make sure that these immigrants have the health care that they need. This is why your government is not reopening. This is why there are no Kings rallies being held across the country. And they're planning on doing more. Go ahead. You want to protest no Kings? Have fun. Enjoy yourselves. Keep it peaceful, and you don't have to worry. But do something productive. You want to protest something, pick a cause that actually makes sense. Because in the history of this country, since we were freed from the king, there has not been another one. But the Democratic Party tried to install a person into the presidency that never received a vote. Because Joe Biden was finally said to be incompetent, which most people knew for a very long time, even though the Democrats tried to lie and say that he was completely coherent, completely cognizant, completely competent. But after one debate, no longer was that a viable option because the world saw, no, he's not. So they had to pick somebody else. And that person was Kamala Harris. She was picked. She wasn't elected. She never received a single vote. She was picked. In a democracy, constitutional republic, you vote on things. People are elected and nominated, not picked. The next ruler is picked. We nominate and elect. And that's how we do things. So, what side was really going for the king? Or in this case, shall we say, the queen? So it seems to me that the Democrats and the liberals have it backwards. They want to put in their own king, or in this case, a queen, but want to argue and fight when Trump's trying to do something to make America better and put America first. So, you scream fascist, you scream Nazi, but that Nazi helped bring peace to the Jews. He's such a fascist, but yet you're allowed to go and protest him. All the words that you use seem to be the wrong one. A true fascist shouts down their opponents. Silence what the political party has to say. Makes it okay to incite violence against them. All those things are coming from the Democrats and the liberals. Now, it's not all the Democrats, it's not all the liberals, but it seems to be the far left-leaning Democrats and liberals that are doing things like this, while the moderate Democrats and liberals are wanting to get back to a normal sense of what this country used to be. They want to reopen the government and get things funded and get things moving again. They're willing to work with Donald Trump because they realize it's better to work with the person in power to do something that is in favor of their constituents than it is to fight the system and just look like a gigantic ass. So your Jasmine Crockett's, your AOC's, your Chuck Schumer's, your Gavin Newsom's, J.B. Pritzker's, they all want to fight the system rather than work with the system. And their areas are suffering majorly for it. They are the ones that need to be removed from office come these next elections. Because they're not going to do anything to help the people that voted for them. All they're doing is trying to grandstand to make themselves look better to the minority, to the small group of people that they think will do everything they want them to do. You can't just buy votes because you think it's going to get you reelected. You need to do what you need to do for the majority of the people that have voted for you at one point or time or another, have elected you to represent them. Stop worrying about what the minority thinks of you and start doing what's best for the majority of the people that voted for you. You can be as liberal as you want to be, but you can still have the common sense to realize that you need to work with the person in power to do what's best for the people that voted for you. We the people are Charlie Kirk, and we will continue this message. We will continue the debates. We will continue talking to make sure the point gets across that you need to come back to the table with your common sense and do what's best for the people. Because we the people put you in power. We the people can take you out of power. If you like what I have to say, please give a like, leave a comment, share this with somebody you think needs to hear it, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Be safe.